that was a fantastic breakdown. And we are going from one fantastic guest to another.
We didn't need
Sarah
me to
Bills.
come on. Carl could have Carl could have helped the rest of the show along that he could talk.
No. This show is planned with I was about to say German precision. This is like poor timing to say that, right? But just like trains on thing, 7:30, 8:00, 8:30, etc. I've gotten good at it. Man, in the very beginning, I used to fuck it up with the best of them. And even now, every so often, Lath was supposed to be on the show on Monday. And I tried to be fancy. Usually, I just tell people Eastern time. That way, everybody's on the same thing. And I tried to get fancy. It was like, okay, I would tell people their own time zones. Fucked it up royally. Screwed it up completely. So now I went back to, okay, Eastern time, Eastern Standard. And as somebody pointed out to me, hey, Jamal, I know you like to be accurate. So it's not Eastern Standard Time anymore because we've had daylight saving time. So it's Eastern daylight. So, okay, dude, thank you. I appreciate that. And he's right, by the way, in which case I started just saying ET. That's like I try to be accurate. Sarah, welcome to the show. Sarah Bils. Sarah Bils, she is host or independent journalist, U.S. Navy veteran, and co-founder of DD Geopolitics. That is a fantastic, well, they have, I think, YouTube channel and Twitter. I usually see you on Twitter more than anything else with these kind of breakdown of stories. I use them religiously. Thank you for this.
Thanks.
I love it. It is a fantastic breakdown because it gives you these news bites where you can go and get more information, but it's just enough to whet your appetite where you're like, oh, that's happening right now. And it feeds my thing constantly. So you have been a fantastic help for this show. And I appreciate you for existing in general.
Excuse me. Yeah, thank you.
There is, I want to get your take on something. So there's reporting, and I'm probably going to be asking a few people to get their takes because I am almost certain people are going to have different points of view on this. This came up right here. Apparently, U.S. President Donald Trump has cut ties or cut contact with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, accusing him and his allies of acting arrogantly and trying to push him around. And hey, man, you can't push Donald Trump around like that. That's Big Papa. He's not gonna. His ego weighs 1 billion pounds. You can't budge that, right? According to Israeli Army radio, Trump feels disrespected. I'm feeling neglected. That's why I'm leaving you. And manipulated by Netanyahu. His close associates told Israeli Minister Ron Dermer that Trump hates nothing more than appearing easily manipulated to the public. Now, I don't doubt that, right? I would imagine that's true. In fact, I remember early on, before Trump even got elected, I was like, there is no way Trump is going to allow himself to look weak and absurd as Joe Biden looked over the course of his administration. Netanyahu seemed to have went out of his way to humiliate Joe Biden over and over and over again. Part of it is because he was waiting for Trump. But the other part of it was Joe Biden was basically a cadaver. And so, it's like, how hard is it to drag Bernie, to put him in the car and drag Bernie to wherever you're going to put Weekend at Bernie's? Trump's ego is not going to allow that. And when you get Walsh, who's effectively an Israeli spy, giving secrets over to the Israelis, and discussing with Netanyahu plans to attack Iran while Donald Trump supposedly was having negotiations. Okay, well, that looks bad. That's kind of humiliating. By the same token, I don't really trust this. Joe Biden.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joe Biden is doing
this. Be the one that says, "Come on, Jamal."
Yeah, that was the way I looked at it. Oh, right, you're about to say, okay, yeah. Well, I was trying to give like the primer for it before I twisted
when I saw the statement, I was like, this is so theatrical and ridiculous. Yes. And then this morning, I've just woken up, so I haven't gotten a lot of time to go through the news, but I saw some news bites my partner just sent me that said that Pete Hegseth was removing the normalization with Israel out of the negotiations with Saudi.
Yep.
I don't buy this. I mean, they might be, but this is them distancing themselves personally from the imminent Israeli attack on Iran.
Right there. Okay, so we're on the same page on this.
Yes.
We're on the same page. I kept thinking the same thing. I kept saying, okay, so Hegseth at one point said, we're going to attack Iran. Netanyahu says we're going to attack Iran. Trump has associated everything associated with the Houthis with Iran. They've broken off negotiations with Iran. And regardless of all of this stuff, Iran is freaking out and is getting far more aggressive with their warnings to the United States, meaning they don't even buy it. Like Iran comes out and says, we will open the gates of hell if Israel or the United States attack us. Iran has been showing that, hey, we're paying attention to your warships. We see them. Our drones are keeping track of all of this stuff. And even in this video, what they're showing is an underground missile base that can basically fire off missiles, even if they're hit. So Iran wasn't doing this during negotiations. Iran started doing this now because Iran believes, I would argue, that an attack is imminent and that the U.S. wants to say, hey, we didn't have anything to do with it.
Correct.
I didn't
even talk to Bibi. I'm not even talking to Bibi. Look, I made an announcement. We're not even talking.
Right. It's like the article says we weren't talking till we cut ties.
I told you a week before.
Yeah.
We weren't talking. It seems very frantic and very exactly. It seems like theater.
Yeah. Okay. So you have the same conclusion on that.
Yeah. I did it at first because it was coming from IDF radio. So I was like, okay, this is probably over dramatized. The Israelis are probably, trying to make this seem bigger than it was. And I was like, maybe he's just miffed at Bibi because he does get like that. But then as more came out, I was like, oh, this is. And then when I saw this morning about Pete Hegseth, I was like, this is just full on theater.
Yeah. It's too intense.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's coming from all corners.
Yeah, the lady don't protest too much is what it is. It's like you guys are acting crazy and you're giving a tell. You're letting us know something is coming because you're acting a little bit too irrational, even for you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to. Do they not understand like that? We know our relationship with Israel. Like we know you're not going to leave Israel in the lurch if they're getting ready to attack Iran. You're not going to do that.
And you're still giving them bombs, bullets, money. You're still doing all of this stuff. It's one thing if it's like we've cut ties with Israel and we stopped giving them money and bombs. Okay, well, that's different. This seems very intense. Like I could see if it was, I give an example. When the New York Times, for example, would write an article and it would say, well, Donald Trump doesn't want to step away from the Ukraine thing because he doesn't want to get blamed for it. Okay, but that's kind of like, paragraph 5 in an article that's written by the New York Times and it's kind of dry language. Okay, right. I can believe that. That makes sense to me because that's exactly what's happening right now. This is out the blue and is being screamed at on social media, like to a very high volume with all of these corners repeating the same words, cut cut ties or cut contact? Cut contact.
Not cut ties. No, contact. Yeah. Even so, they worded it in such a way that it's like Trump personally cut contact with Bibi personally. None of that matters. Doesn't matter if those two talk or not. That's all it was. It was meant to be an insult. People took it. Stupid Americans took it the wrong way and were like, he's cutting off the talks with this. No, he's cutting off his direct contact with Bibi. That's it. That's an easy thing to do to distance himself from whatever's about to happen. He did the easiest thing he could. It was smart politically, but it's not, people aren't going to buy it.
I think they will. Believe it or not, here's the thing. So if you remember, a few things took place. One was with the Houthis, where Donald Trump effectively supposedly made a deal with the Houthis. Mm-hmm. And they asked him about, hey, well, you cut a deal saying a truce between you, but the Houthis saying they're still hitting Israel.
They're hitting it right now as we speak.
Exactly. And Donald Trump was like, well, I don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
They just know they're not going to hit us.
Come on
So,
now, right? Like,
right.
come on.
Well,
I don't
up
have
to this
anything to
point,
do with. Okay, sure. You just
well,
they bombed the hell out of Yemen, right? And now
yep.
Yemen's retaliating on Israel, and rightfully so, but you have nothing to say about it?
He said, we don't have anything to do with it. And so we're
Oh, I
leaving.
read that last night. It was like, unless they hit our stuff, we're not bothering. Come on now.
Exactly.
I don't believe that either.
So what Lath pointed out, Lath thing was, okay, well, the U.S. is going to act as if Israel is hitting them, when really it's the U.S. is continuing to hit them. Basically, setting up this context of we didn't have anything to do with any of this stuff. We broke ties with Israel. They hit Iran. And to your point, I don't believe for a moment that Israel will hit Iran without the U.S. permission.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the negotiation thing in the New York Times, if you remember, he brings Netanyahu here and tells him, we're not going to attack Iran, which means neither are you. So any attack on Iran is on some level greenlit by the United States. I mean, it's proof of concept just in the New York Times by itself.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't think that this is going to work, but they can try to distance themselves from it. It's clear that Iran knows something is up, and coming off of a negotiation with you, I don't buy for a second that Trump would go in and negotiate with the Houthis sans Israel at all. I don't believe that. I'm sorry, I just don't. Like, why would all you have to do to negotiate with the Houthis is to not put your ships in the way of their fire. You don't need to do anything else. There's no ceasefire needed. And the only thing Israel needs to do to stop being bombed is to stop bombing Gaza. And that's not going to happen. So what are we talking about? Like, oh, we made a deal with the Houthis. What, that you're not going to go in their waters? Like, that's what you should have done from the beginning. That's not a deal.
Well, there's more, actually.
Go ahead.
So the cradle, so apparently the Israeli lobby is getting involved in Congress to kill any deal that Trump makes either with the Saudis or the Iranians. Like, meaning there are multiple data points of trying to get across this notion of, okay, there's some conflict between the United States and Israel now. And one of those data points is congressional pressure using AIPAC or using the lobby to say, hey, you can't get anything done without our support, which is, aggravating to me as an American that this foreign country is effectively affecting our politics, but whatever. Apparently a video has been put out of Israel going after Trump. Trying to get him.
Oh, come on.
I'm serious.
No, I mean, like, I don't believe that either. Like, I mean, it exists, but I don't believe that it's genuine.
Yeah. And Drop Zone News is reporting, I'll show this one too while we're at it. I'll show all the data points that are available.
Thank you, because I'm not caught up.
Okay. So Trump announced Gaza deal with minimal Israeli input, says Israeli report. And they are effectively saying that they're coming up with this comprehensive framework for Gaza. Now, I think this piggybacks on this notion that the United States is going to administer the concentration camp in Gaza. And that I'll just read it. The initial phase would involve the U.S. helping manage aid distribution via Israeli-built supply centers. Later stages would include U.S. and Arab oversight over Gaza's reconstruction. The plan envisions an eventual Israeli military withdrawal alongside partial dismantlement or disarmament process of Hamas fighters. So basically, trying to disarm Hamas and controlling the area. Resistance from Hamas. Well, obviously, Hamas doesn't believe anything that you're saying, considering you had a deal when you first got in and you let Israel violate the entire deal. So what it sounds like from Hamas's point of view, okay, you want to disarm us, make us defenseless, and they're going to kill us when you finish, right? They're not insane for thinking that. So it's a key concessions under consideration. The deal would allow Hamas leadership to remain involved in Gaza's future civil governance and possibly grant immunity from assassination. Immunity from assassination. It's like, geez, that is wild when you think about that. When you read this, like, whoa.
I'm not exactly. Your reaction tells me that it's probably not real. Like, it's so far removed from anything that we've ever seen. I just don't. Trump he is too ingratiated, and he owes the Israeli lobby and the Zionists way too much because
Yeah.
of their donations to his campaign. Like, I'm sorry, but Israelis, Jews in general, are the biggest theater kids. So it's like they're so dramatic. I just don't I don't buy this. I don't. It's too over the top.
And all of it is coming out like within a day.
Yeah, 24 hours, less than 24 hours is all coming out.
When I woke up this morning, I saw like it was like item.
Yes. I'm still catching up. Like as I'm talking to you, it's crazy. Alongside the victory parade. Plus he is like seething over that victory parade. He is pissed. He is so jealous. It's so funny. He's announced 2 victory days, a victory parade, like since this all started. So he's just going crazy in general. He's pissed. He's so jealous. None of his plans have worked. The thing with China backfired. We've gone from he said like 100 and some countries. He said more than the total number of countries. Anyway, we're negotiating with him, and we've whittled that all the way down to 1 with the UK. That doesn't matter because we have a trade surplus with them anyway. What are we doing? So unless he's like listening to them to circle back, maybe there's a chance, a slight, small chance that he's listening to his base, not that he's doing where he's making it appear that he's doing what they want him to do, because there's still a very strong pushback against Israel. There's a lot of that anti-Semitism stuff that, backlash and all of that. So there could be that. I mean, that's another options that I could maybe think of, but that's about it. I just don't see any reason why this would be true. You're muted.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm very skeptical. I mean, I was cynical of these negotiations in the first place. Part of me was slightly optimistic that my cynicism was wrong. Because, cynicism can be every bit as much as a bias as anything else. It's just, and so I was like, okay, he sent Wickoff. Maybe in his mind he wants a deal. By the same token, you're surrounded by neocons, and they keep pushing you to maximize or maximize what your wants are, which is going to kill the deal. And so it's kind of like, okay, the moment that Wickoff gets delegitimized, they're attacking him left and right. The moment I start hearing Rubio pipe up, we need basically a Libyan option, I'm like, okay, we're screwed. Like this is going nowhere. Like this is bad.
That's the thing that contradicts it all, right? The neocons are in office. Waltz was removed. He's not a neocon, though. He's a huge Israeli shill. And his rumored replacement is Stephen Miller, who is the biggest Iran hardliner that we have. So it's like, it's what your actions are betraying your words in a way. These guys, the only person that's against striking of Iran in any form or fashion, well, there's 2 in a form or fashion, is Tulsi Gabbard, who has no say. She's been completely pushed to the side, and Pete Hegseth. That's it.
Yeah, it's that. I've had people on the show who were very optimistic. And I guess my thing is looking at it through the context of history. And you can look at all of these other countries: Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Sudan is a basket case, and the last man standing is Iran. And it didn't matter the president. It might have taken 20, 30 years, but we've finally got to Iran with a government full of Zionists and with a president that has given Israel a full license to do whatever they want. Hey, if you want to take down city blocks, have at it. If you want to murder children, have at it. If you want to openly starve 2 million people, no issue. We'd even go to the ICJ and argue that you have the right to starve 2 million people, which, by the way, they did a week ago. And so it's like, okay, so a week ago, you're arguing that Israel has every right to starve 2 million people to death. Children, women and children, 2/3 of which women and children, right? Baby. The images that are coming out of kids as skeletons are heartbreaking. But our president has just argued that it's perfectly okay. And so a week later, you're like, I'm not talking to Bibi now. I'm done with him.
Also, I think Mike Huckabee released some sort of statement that was kind of anti-Israel, and I was like, now I know this is a lie because he would never even sneeze at Israel the wrong way. So it was like, you guys have just screwed the pooch. I think his statement came out either today. I can't even remember. It's all a blur.
He's talking about Yemen.
It's either late last night or early this morning, and I'm like,
yeah, he was talking about Yemen. He effectively said the United States doesn't need Israel permission.
Yes, that's it. If they they don't need our permission. Yeah. And I'm like, come on now. This guy's one of the biggest like hardliner Christian evangelicals in the country, especially in politics. So I was like, those words would never come out of his mouth sincerely. They're liars and they're not good at it. They're terrible liars. I've been saying a little bit about this administration is that there's no desire to even formulate a coherent story or a lie that's believable. They just lie, and you're like, I can check that right now. I could literally have AI listen to your speech and fact check you as you're talking. They just say the most asinine things, and the base just kind of says, well, they're just saying those things to see how people react. It's just, they just lie all the time. All they do is lie. It's bizarre. I've never seen, at least we've talked about it before, I think you and I, where we're like, Joe Biden kind of dressed it up, and I'd rather have the one that kind of lies to my face and I can figure it out. And at the same time, it's like, or Garland, actually, I think I talked to him about this, but I don't agree. I feel like my intelligence is being insulted. At least let me try to figure it out a little bit. Like, I know you're not telling the truth. Like, how are you going to sit there and say, like, Xi is calling, and Xi is literally making a statement saying he's not calling. They haven't spoken on the phone. And then you're like, well, maybe, you're like, why lie?
It is very bizarre. I've never seen anything like it.
It's like pathological lying. It's lying for no reason.
All presidents lie, but this is different.
Exactly.
Like this is very different. I can't, like, it's hard to explain. It's one thing if you tell me, like, I always say Donald Trump is amoral to the truth.
Yes, I agree.
And so it's like, it could be raining outside. He's like, it's a sunny day. And you're like, dude, the window is open. What are you talking about?
And then if you say that, he'll be like, well, like he doesn't even care that he's caught in the lie either. Well,
it's weird. Like, I remember when he was doing that interview, and she said, he's like, oh, the other countries pay for tariffs. We don't have to pay for tariffs. And it's like, yes, we do. What are you talking about? And she asked them, she says, he says, yeah, kids should be able to get away with not having $30 babies. First, who's buying $30 babies, right? But okay. She's like, they should be able to get by with 3. And the reporter was like, so you admit the tariffs are going to increase prices because otherwise they can get the $30 babies. Well, no, I don't admit that. But you just admitted it. Like, it's a very bizarre administration in the way that they do this. And it's terrifying on some level because it means that what happens doesn't really matter. They just lie. Like, it could, he was like, eggs have gone down. No, they haven't.
No, they haven't. Gas has gone down. No, it hasn't. Not anything substantial. Not anything than a normal fluctuation.
Also, Donald Trump is not making groceries.
Like
it's stuff like that. It's just weird.
No, but Caroline Levitt brings her baby to the office. See, it's like these little stupid things that they give us, right?
Yeah.
Like these little feel good or rah moments, and then it's like back to the BS. I was actually hopeful for Trump. I really was. And I'm not saying that I've lost all hope, but this is looking really bleak. I was
hopeful
very
in what way? Explain that. Because on the domestic front, I had no hope.
That we needed a big change. I did. And I thought that he would kind of accelerate us in a way that was kind of sustainable, or in a way that wasn't so shocking. He was
explain that part. Accelerate us.
Because I think that he's an accelerationist without knowing it. He's accelerating us into either multipolarity or into an inevitable break, which is it was inevitable anyway before Trump even came about. So I just was kind of looking at it from like a bright side. There's a silver lining. Like, that's how I was looking at it. And now I'm just like, you're such a mess. Like, you can't even get it like together. Like, what? Like, where are the Epstein files?
Yeah.
Where are the mass deport? Not that I'm saying that I necessarily want those things. These are things that you campaigned on. Where are the mass deportations? You're offering people $1,000 to leave, $1,000 in a plane ticket. You are desperate, bro. That's desperation. Like, what's really going on? What is happening? They want a $1 trillion military budget, and now Doge has cut their goal down to 150 million from 1 trillion or 150 billion. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And it's just like, it's such a bait and switch. I feel bad for MAGA diehards. I really do. Because they have to figure out how to do the mental gymnastics to excuse this.
Well, they're like liberals. They're cultists.
They really, really are.
I just consider them in a cult. And I am terrified of people who are in cults. Reality doesn't matter. Dear leader says this. Joe Biden is, sharp as a tack. Like that nonsense, right?
Right.
And Obama didn't have to give $1,000. Obama just deported like 3 million people or some insane number.
Exactly.
So it does reek of desperation to say, I'll give you $1,000 to leave. Give me $1,000. Give me $1,000. I'll leave. I mean, I'll come back because I'm American, but give me $1,000. Like, it reeks of desperation. And then he says, well, we have so many people that the courts can't handle them all, so we just need to blow off due process.
We're arresting judges.
It's like you have so many people. So let's say you have 2 million people. So you're going to give 2 million people $1,000 or 5 million people $1,000. Like, it's so ludicrous. Like, I don't even know how you do that from the executive branch. How does the executive branch have the power to give $1,000 to anybody? It's just weird. That's a legislation thing.
Right.
It's just weird. It's very bizarre. What do you think is going to happen if they hit Iran? Because under our model of thinking about it, the U.S. is going to be like, we had nothing to do with it. We had nothing to do with it. That was all Israel. So, this kind of which path to Israel or path to Persia, it's kind of that of, okay, we allow Israel to hit Iran, but we act like we didn't have anything to do with it, and we were in negotiations, and so our hands are clean. But Israel is an attack dog force. What do you think happens after that attack, though?
Well, first we need to address what the attack might be. I really think that it's going to be death by 1,000 cuts. I think that there might be some Israeli influence or fault for these recent fires and explosions in Iran. Israel likes to do death by 1,000 cuts. Iran debuted a new missile this week. They said that they used the lessons that they learned from dealing with Israel and True Promise 2 to build this missile. And Israel didn't intercept anything. So does Israel really want a huge retaliation? Another thing that's either suspicious or interesting, however you take it, is that Israel's blaming American air defense systems for failures. That when the missile hit Ben Gurion Airport, they said that was United States' fault because the air defense didn't activate. I don't know if they're setting up a scene for an Iranian retaliation to then blame the Americans that missiles got through.
Well, just be clear though, the missiles did fire; they just missed. Like the THAAD system that the U.S. had, Iron Dome, both just missed.
They missed, and they blamed the THAAD. Correct. So I don't know, that might be a way to be like, they hit us back and your air defense didn't intercept it. That's exactly that's what they said this past time. They made sure they said American THAAD AD did not intercept the missile.
From my understanding, that missile was going at hypersonic speeds by the time that thing came back into the atmosphere.
Nothing's taking that thing down. They're just that's just talk. And that's another thing. They know that nothing's taking that thing down. So why are you even saying that? It just feels like a setup for something later.
But see, that's the other interesting question. They know that they're going to get hit if they hit Iran. Meaning they know that Iran can hit them and they can't stop them from being hit. And depending upon how they hit Iran, the response is going to be withering. Like, I get the sense that Iran is looking for a reason to go after Israel. That's the part I don't quite understand. Like, if you know you're vulnerable, why are you going to strike them in this way when you know you can't stop their response?
We're not dealing with a rational actor here in Israel.
Yeah.
We in the United States, there's some rationality left. This is not a rational actor at all. They want a total capitulation, and if it means the destruction of the Middle East, that's fine. They don't care. They will rule over the ashes. They are completely irrational. A country with a Samson option is not a rational actor in any sense of the word. Bibi's getting desperate. This was supposed to be like, this is what Bibi thinks he needs to save his political career and legacy. I don't think that they care about the consequences. They clearly don't care about their population at all. They don't care about the population of Gaza. They don't even care. They don't care about their own population. Why would it matter? They love when Israelis get hurt. They love it. It's a PR bonanza for the Israeli government.
What, telegenically dead Jews were Israelis.
Yeah, exactly. Like
that's what Netanyahu described.
And if Iran does it, all the better. All the better.
If Iran, would the U.S. Well, I guess that's two questions. Would they use the Samson option? First question, meaning, are they going to use nukes if they get hit in a very brutal, over-the-top, exaggerated way? And does the U.S. get involved? I mean, the U.S. may say, we didn't have anything to do with it, our hands are off of it. But certainly, there at Diego Garcia, they built up a massive military complex in Diego Garcia. Israel does not have the capacity to hit Iran in any way that is existential by themselves. I don't know how this. Yeah, I don't quite get it.
I mean, well, because they're irrational, we have no idea how they'll react. I highly doubt they'll execute the Samson option, especially when things are going so well for them. They have made huge advances into Syria. They actually run the show in Syria right now. That government is a failure. Yeah. They're very far into Lebanon, as far as they need to be. Jordan's completely capitulated. Iraq is defanged. They don't want to get involved at all. The only people that they really have to deal with left are Iran and Yemen. And I think that they're on too much of a high swing or an upswing to do a Samson option over Iran. They've almost finished all of their countries. We're almost done. The 7 countries in 5 years. It took a little longer, but they're almost done. They only have Iran left. That's it. I don't think they're going to blow themselves up. I just don't.
I know, but any attack on Iran is going to be met with withering force. We know at this point that Iran has the capability of decimating Israel if they unleash. Up to this point, Iran has been extremely restrained, and that pragmatism has been taken for weakness. So I guess my thing is, this is a country of 80 million versus a country of 8 million. They would get decimated. And on some level, it will be existential for the state of Israel. The entire point of Israel, right? Safe haven for Jews. Well, it's no longer a safe haven.
That was blown out of the water.
Yeah, exactly. So when would you use the Samson option? If not, I'll give you an example. When Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear off, and they kicked him out. But they were like, okay, but we're not going to expel you from boxing. And people were like, okay, well, what do you need to do to expel somebody from boxing?
You're right.
This is kind of like that, right? It's like,
what do I need to do to get a Samson option around here?
Exactly.
And I'm not already.
I'm just asking, what would that take if not an existential attack by what they consider to be a mortal enemy? And if Israel is going to attack Israel, the response is going to be withering. And then this is a secondary question of, does the U.S. get involved? I guess all of this, as you point out, this is very irrational for the state of Israel because they are risking the state in any significant attack on Iran.
Well, at least that's my thought. We're probably going to join in to prevent this horrible retaliation on Israel. We'll probably do our best to mitigate that, I would think.
But how? We said our hands are off it.
We'll see. I mean, we say different things from 12 hours to 12 hours. We're not even day to day anymore. We're I can't even keep up anymore. I might have to do 2 or 3 shows a week because by the Sunday to Sunday, I'm like, we have had a decade in a week, as Lenin would say.
Yeah, it's so weird. It seems suicidal, which is why look, my thing is, if I'm traveling, my mom will always say, "I don't want you traveling to a war zone." She always
Why
like,
not?
"Is that place safe?" Like that's her first thought, right? Is the place safe? Because she knows me. I'll go anyway. Um, and I always tell her, if I die on a trip, then I lose. Like it's like you can do all sorts of stuff, but if you die doing it, you lose. It kind
Right.
of breaks the premise. I feel that way about countries too. If they are doing this, like what comes back is unpredictable. I understand Netanyahu's an ideologue. I get it. But this is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't have an answer to this one.
Neither do
This is
I. I
kind of
mean,
what
we're
I'm
dealing
feeling.
with two very irrational actors, the United States and Israel.
Yeah. Wow. What do you think happens to the region? Does this embroil the region into just,
The region is screwed. Screwed.
well,
The only people that have any power left is Saudi, and their power is capitulated to the United States. That's it.
yeah.
No one else has any power. UAE and Qatar are preoccupied with other projects. They're not want to get involved in this.